reviewing my Skylanders collection as of August 2nd, 2023. Now, I have Skylanders branching from the entire series all the way from Spyro's Adventure clear down to Imaginators. That being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it with possibly my favorite game in the franchise, that being Spyro's Adventure. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start it with a Skylander that means a lot to me, and that is Stealth Elf. Now, she was one of the characters that I actually first had went off and played as, and her fighting style was definitely more of a fast-paced, right up in your face combat experience. It was great, and that is probably one of the reasons why I actually started liking Skylanders in the first place. Not only that, but because back in 2014 when I first played Skylanders, Trap Team was the first game that I played on, and just having a character that could get all up in your face, not having a very complex moveset, but also just able to do a lot of damage was really cool, and that was something that me and my friend had went off and really enjoyed going off and getting to play together, because he could be the distance and I could be the up in your face, gotcha kind of person. Sorry about that, had to take a sip of my lemonade. Anyway, so here we have Stealth Elf, great figure. She was my first Skylander, gifted to me on my 11th birthday. She's very cool. But let's move on to the next Skylander in my collection, and that was Chop Chop. Once again, because I loved the up-close combat experience, my buddy gave me one of his Skylanders, that being Chop Chop. That was also on the same birthday. What can I say? My bro was really cool. We loved playing Skylanders together, and we had a lot of fun with it. Sorry if this is a little too much. I might have to turn off the light show or get some better lighting. We're just gonna hold for just a second. Technical difficulties. Alrighty, sorry about that, guys. I had to go off and fix the lighting real quick. Anyway, Chop Chop is a fantastic figure. He is very neat looking, very cool, very stoic, undead warrior guy, and that's just part of the reason why I like him. So moving on, I also have Trigger Happy. He was also one of the first characters I ever got to play as. He was a very fun, very chaotic little dude, and yeah, he just brings back a lot of nostalgia to actually get to play as. On to the next guy, that being Drobot. What can I say? Sure is Drobot. On to the next one, that being Cinder. Now, Cinder is a very interesting case because I remember her being super OP, but for some reason, she's just not good. Like, she just sucks compared to how I remember her. I don't know, maybe it's because I was just like a kid, and I always thought that if you do any damage, wow, that's really cool. But Cinder is just abysmal compared to how I remember her. Maybe I just forgot how to play as her, or maybe she's just bad. But for real, something just ain't right in the Cinder universe. I don't know what the deal is. Now, on to the next one. We have a character that I actually just recently got, but I've been actually enjoying a lot. That being Sonic Boom. Now, Sonic Boom, her figure's a little bland. I'm not gonna say too much on that because I guess that kind of goes for all the dragons. But she just kind of looks like a weird looking bird, griffin thing, and that's really it. But her Series 2 variant has been the one that I've been playing on, and she can pack a real punch. And she's a very underrated Skylander, and I'm not sure why people don't talk about her more. Then next, we have a Skylander that I actually used to despise, that being Flameslinger. Now, this one is one that my girlfriend actually told me I should pick up because it looked like a character from the Hunger Games, and so I picked it up. And Flameslinger is actually really dang good, and I can see why my buddy back in the day loved playing as Flameslinger. And yeah, he's probably one of my favorite characters from the entire franchise now. So that's pretty cool. That being said, one of my favorite characters that I've always loved is Double Trouble. Now, Double Trouble has just a lot of charisma. He's a fun dude to play as. He can waylay your enemies with tons of damage. He has a really neat figure, no matter which figure it is, whether it be Royal, Series 2, whatever. Just good stuff all the way around. Double Trouble is a very, very OP Skylander. On to the next one that's a little underwhelming to me nowadays, that being Igniter. I love the dude. I'm very nostalgic for him, but he's just not as good as I remember. I don't know what the deal is, but he's just not as great as I remember him being. I still love him, though. He has a lot of great attacks. He just has a little bit... I think it's his Flame Mortar path that really... It's just the attack in general. It's just the Flame Mortar attack. It's just so bad that it drags the rest of them down. And there's just a lot of wasted potential there. Anyway, on to the next one. That being Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball is a character I don't really find myself playing as a ton, but he is a fun little guy whenever I do decide to go off and bust him out. I've completely maxed out his Series 2 variant, but... that doesn't mean that I don't love this figure. He looks adorable. He kind of reminds me of a pug, which is weird because he's some sort of little grubworm guy. I just think he's cute. On to the next one, that being Boomer. Boomer is a Skylander that I'd never even found until 2020 in a thrift store. And I picked this guy up for, I think, $5 back then. And I'm so glad I did. He is one that I actually got in a trio. I actually went out and bought Ghost Roaster, Boomer, and Voodoo at the same time, and I ended up loving all of them. Boomer is a very fun character to play as. At first I thought he wasn't going to be that great, but I went off and I played through, and he was just a ton of fun to play as. He's got a very neat looking, if not a little deranged looking figure. Very cool guy, very fun to play as. On to the next one, that being one of my all-time favorites, Skylanders of all time now, Dino Rang. He's got a lot of great defense. He has good armor. He looks sick in the game, no matter whether he's level 1 or level 20, completely leveled up with his armor and all that. But he is just a very OP character. I love him a lot. I'm so glad I picked him up. I have an attachment to him now. Him and Flameslinger were two great picks back in March. And yeah, there's a lot of good times attached to him, even though I just got him earlier this year. That being said, on to the next one. That being said, we're moving from two greats to an even greater. I love Voodoo. I don't know what the deal is. People hate on him all the time. I love this dude. He's a lot of fun to play as. Yet again, it's one of those in-your-face characters, except Voodoo's got a little bit of range where he can kind of, I think he like shoots his axe blade, and it like stabs into the enemy, and he kind of like yanks himself forward in their face, and then he can, tear his axe out of their flesh and start attacking them again. But this dude is he's just boss. I don't know what the deal is. I just love this dude. He's a lot of fun to play as. He's got a great figure. I love his voice. Yeah, he's just a lot of fun. On to the next one. We're running out of room on the desk here. That being Gilgrunt. A character I don't really enjoy playing as, I'll be honest. I used to love playing as some of these Skylanders, and they're just not as great as I remember. That being said, I think Gilgrunt's the greatest offender in that case. I don't know what the deal was, but late last year, after I'd went off and bought the Wii, and I started playing Skylanders, it was just rough. I don't know what the damage was, but I hated Gilgrunt. He was so bad. And then I went out and bought the Tidal Wave version, and I started liking him a lot better, mainly just because he had a lot more things to do. Not trying to hate on the Gilgrunt fans, he's just not great in his first iteration. That being said, moving on to the one and only Ghost Roaster. He is a fun guy to play as. He's very chaotic. I wish that some of his attacks were a little better, I'm not going to lie. He is really neat, though, and he's kind of rare, kind of hard to come by. I've seen him being sold for about $30. Considering that he actually came in an adventure pack, I can kind of get behind that, but This dude is he's just really neat. He's very fun to play as. I was expecting him to not be like fantastic, but I'm glad that he was as good as he was. That being said, on to the last two of my Spyro's Adventure Skylanders, that being Whirlwind and one other. You guys already know who they are. It's Spyro. Of course, everyone has Spyro in their collection. Now, these two Skylanders are very good, with one being fantastic, absolutely perfection, other than the fact that the design is just not my favorite, and the other one being complete trash with a meh design. That being said, Whirlwind is the one where I just don't like the design, but she has a great moveset, and Spyro is the one where I just kind of don't really like him. I mean, I like his design, don't get me wrong. His moveset's just kind of bland, and the fact that they use up two spaces for each, well, one space for each of the characters to just have a boring old flight move is just kind of useless after Spyro's Adventure. But anyway, now let's move on to the magic items and other things like that, you know, locations, like, yeah. So next thing we're going to do is the Healing Elixir. This came along with Ghost Roaster in the Darklight Crypt Adventure Pack. Speaking of which, we also got the Time Turner or Time Twister, don't remember which one. And then we also got the Darklight Crypt itself. So yeah, lots of good stuff here, and that's kind of all I got to say about it. And so yeah, now we're going to go ahead and move on to Giants after I place all these Skylanders back on the Skylanders shelf. Anyway, so I actually think that my Spyro's Adventure collection is probably my favorite collection of the entire series. I've really been wanting to get every single Series 1 variant of each character. That being said, I do have some noticeable holes in the collection. Some of them I have other versions of, like, you know, Series 2s and 3s. Like, I got Series 2 Zook, Series 3 Terrafin, but I just don't have an Eruptor. I don't have a Whamshell. I do not have Sunburn, and I don't have Slam Bam. So those are ones I need to get. Whether it's Series 2, Series 3, don't care, just need to find one. That being said, let's move on to Skylanders Giants. So, starting out strong with our Gianty boys here, we got Tree Rex. This dude, just standard Tree Rex. He's been rocking it since 2012. Very cool Skylander figure. And what can I say? He's overrated, but he's a classic figure nonetheless. I love playing as him. He's a lot of fun. He does a lot of damage. I mean, he's kind of slow, but all Giants are slow, so I can't really bash him for that. I don't know. He's kind of mid-tier, but he's a good Giant. Then we got Hothead. He's a little too tall for our thing here. We can see that he's got a fantastically detailed figure. He's actually one of the Giants that I've just got to play this year because I just bought him in May before I ended up moving, and I got him in a lot that I paid about $60 for. But Hothead is a great Skylander from what I've seen so far. I don't have him all the way maxed out, but he seems like he's going to be a lot of fun to play as. That being said, I also have a couple Skylanders that I'm kind of babysitting for my friend, and they're just kind of vibing in the collection for now. That being said, here's Swarm. Swarm's just vibing. He's got chubby cheeks. What can I say? He's a fun guy to play as. He just doesn't entail as much damage as I would like. And for that, I kind of have to say so-so. He's not bad, though. He's fun to play as. And then we also got another one I'm babysitting, that being Eyebrawl. He's a little too tall, but we'll make it work. He's a great dude. He's kind of vulnerable whenever you pop his eye off of his body, though. Other than that, good Skylander, great design, interesting name, Eyebrawl. But other than that, let's move on to the cores. So we're going to start with the brand new cores instead of the Series 2s. Here we have Chill. She's a Skylander that I just got to play as this year, whenever I bought her, I think, last month. And she's been a lot of fun to play as. She's a lot better than I ever thought she would be. And yeah, so that's really all I have to say about Chill. Moving on to one that is very overhated, that being Sprocket. She's another kind of mid-tier Skylander. She's not bad. I think it's kind of just a skills issue for some players. Not trying to make fun of anybody, but I think people are just a little too overzealous in the hate for this character. She does have a lot of missed potential, though. I'm not going to lie. Next we have Pop Fizz, the brand new Magic Core for Skylanders Giants. He is a fun guy to play as. He's very overrated, but he is deserving of, a very fan-loved place. He's got a really neat little figure. I remember going off and seeing this guy and thinking he was very interesting. Yeah, I love that little dude, even if he's overrated. That being said, we're moving on to one of my favorite cores from this game, that being Shroom Boom. Shroom Boom is a very fun little Skylander. I actually have the entire battle pack for this guy. So I got Series 2 Chop Chop, the Dragonfire Cannon, and Shroom Boom. So he's a neat little figure to have. I actually ended up playing Shroom Boom off of Trap Team because I actually ended up finding Sure Shot Shroom Boom for 99 cents back in 2015. Right before right before Superchargers came out. So that was pretty sweet, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, that is Shroom Boom. That being said, we will move on to another core that I instantly fell in love with, that being Fright Rider and Ozzy. So here we got the legendary duo here, and they are very cool. I think that they should have more HP, though. They kind of get knocked out quick, even though, their moveset is all up in your face. But at the same time, whenever you don't have enough hit points to go off and take a couple hits, it doesn't make for a very great Skylander. He's just, again, he's kind of like Sprocket. He's kind of middle tier, but he's not a bad Skylander, and I really do like his design. I think he's very neat. That being said, we're going to move on to the final core that I have in my collection for Skylanders Giants of the new cores, that being Jetvac. Jetvac is a very, very neat Skylander. I remember him being a lot better than he actually is, and I guess that might just be the nostalgia, but I love this Skylander. I maxed him out twice, and I just put a lot of time into this dude. I think I currently have 56 hours of playing just as Jetvac, something like that. But he is just a fun Skylander to play as. And yeah, he's a figure I hold close to my heart. He's very, very, very fun. Yeah, that's Jetvac. Anyway, let's move on to the Series 2s, starting with Wrecking Ball. Very cool, very cool. Large tusk beanie guy. Lightning Rod. He's one that I actually ended up purchasing his Series 2 variant form instead of the Spyro's Adventures form, just because he was easier to find, and he was there, so I bought him. Anyway, he's a very fun Skylander to play as. I'm still kind of in the middle of my Lightning Rod playthrough, so I'm just kind of vibing with it. Don't really have much an opinion other than the fact that he's a lot better than I thought he would be. Stump Smash. I love this dude. He's a lot of fun. Not to mention the fact that he has a move called Mega Nut, and it doesn't get much better than that. Series 2 Chop Chop. I love normal Chop Chop, except this Chop Chop has no arm. Gotta love it whenever children don't take care of their toys. This was one of the figures that I went off and bought in that $60 lot, along with Hothead. I'm just glad it's Chop Chop that's missing an arm instead of Hothead. Series 2 Cinder. Basic figure, kind of the same as Series 1, except she has one stronger move. She's still cool, though. I do like Cinder. She's fun, but she's just not as strong as I thought she was. Series 2 Hex. Very fun, very cool figure, very defensive, and good for if you have two controllers, two people playing at once. Hex is a very defensive Skylander, and you can pack a good punch with Hex's Bone Wall and Skull Drop combo. Yes, she's a good character to play as. But then we also have Series 2 Drill Sergeant. He's also one that I picked up the Series 2 variant over the Series 1 just because I could actually find him and he was cheaper. Anyway, yeah, that's Drill Sergeant. I haven't really got to play as him much. Other than that, he's just fun. I remember having a lot of fun with that guy. Series 2 Zook. I love Zook. Zook is probably one of the most underrated Skylanders I think I've ever found, and I love him to death. He is so fun, and I love his accent, and sometimes I find myself repeating his catchphrase. Anyway, that is Zook. He is very cool, very, very fun figure to have in the collection. Series 2 Sonic Boom. Like I said, this is my primarily used Sonic Boom figure. I love that she has the little eaglet next to her. And yeah, she's very cool. Zook's still in the spotlight. And she's a very cool figure. I think her upgrades are probably what makes her a better Skylander and Giants. But just the fact that she's a little more interesting here makes her really stand out. You know, she looks like she's she's unveiling the bomb that's going to destroy your entire livelihood. Something like that. I don't know. That being said, we also have Series 2 Trigger Happy. Let me move Sonic Boom. We got Series 2 Trigger Happy. Bro's on a machine gun. Other than that, he's literally just the same Skylander. Other than that, he's just he's just neat. I like him. He's fun. Series 2 Zap. Other than the very sweet story behind his Wow Pow move for Riley, rest in peace, bro. But yeah, I love Zap. Zap's a really neat Skylander. One of my sister's favorites, and yeah, very cool Skylander. Glad to have him. That being said, I also have one Light Core Skylander. This is another one that I am babysitting. That being Drobot. Light Core Drobot is very neat. He's got a power core at his back that lights up, and he's a very neat Skylander. Not much to him though. I don't really play on Light Core over the original, so I usually just end up playing on my normal Drobot over the Light Core one, just because, you know, it's Drobot either way. They don't really have much of a difference. That being said, I also have the Dragonfire Cannon that completes the battle pack of Shroom Boom, Series 2 Chop Chop, and the Dragonfire Cannon. Alright, that looks like my complete Skylanders Giants collection. So now let's move on to Swap Force. But first, I need to put these Skylanders onto the shelf. So, with Skylanders Giants, there are a couple of cores that I'm missing. Those being Hot Dog, and I believe that's it. I am looking to actually purchase a Hot Dog figure from SCL Matt, and I'm going to hopefully enjoy Hot Dog as a Skylander. I've never actually played as Hot Dog before, at least not that I remember. I might have played him with my buddy Logan at some point, but I don't really think so. I know I've watched his gameplay before, and he looked like he was a good Skylander, but I guess we'll have to see whenever I actually get him in hand. There are some other Series 2s I was thinking of picking up, like Series 2 Eruptor, or I might get Lava Bar Eruptor, whichever comes first. I'm not sure. But I guess we will see when that time comes. Anyway, now let's move on to Skylanders Swap Force, the third game in the franchise, and probably one of the more favored in the fandom. So first things first, we're going to start out with the Swappers, and we're of course going to start out with good old Washbuckler. Washbuckler is a very basic dude. You know, you got the in-your-face plus the ranged attack with the bubble gun, which is pretty fun, pretty cool. Good for different situations. You know, he's kind of a very interesting Skylander. You know, he can pull himself forwards using his tentacles, and he can slice you with his sword. Then he can also shoot you from afar with a bubble, which is pretty dang neat, if you ask me. And then we have basically bombs away, dude. This is Blast Zone. Blast Zone is a very, very fast Skylander. He can just sit there and lob bombs like nobody's business for, you know, and then like in however long you want to throw bombs, bro can just do it. And that is literally this dude's entire personality, other than being on a hot streak. And then we got the top half of Magna Charge. Long story short, I bought a copy of the Traptanium Portal. It came with some figures, and I only got the top half of Magna Charge. Kind of sucks, but at least I have him. Then I also got the butt of Hoot Loop. He came in the $60 lot that I bought. So now it's just Magna Loop, 24/7, 7 days a week. This is just Bro's new body now. So Bro just stands over here. Both of them are great Skylanders. I do want to end up buying the tops and bottom respectively to hopefully actually one day have a complete Magna Charge and Hoot Loop. I love Hoot Loop. He's a very fun Skylander. That is one that I actually got to play at my buddy Logan's house. And then next thing we have is a very interesting piece, that being a custom Skylander that I made. It's literally just the butt of Blast Zone because I've had so many Blast Zones. I got tired of looking at them. I was like, man, I could change this up. So we got Blue Fire Blast Zone. Pretty neat. That's about it. I haven't actually finished this custom, but he's here. So it's kind of half and halfsies. I thought he was cool, kind of a power blue looking variant. So yeah, I thought that was neat. Moving on to that, we also have Fire Kraken, a Skylander that is very, actually pretty strong. I was thinking he was weak, and then I started playing on him in Swap Force, and I'm like, okay, let's look at his upgrades. And the reason why I thought he was weak is because I thought I had this guy fully upgraded. No, not fully upgraded. I had his bottom fully upgraded, but not his top. And then I started playing as him in some of the arena modes, and Bro was demolishing. I had so many good times, just absolutely bashing the enemies. It was great. And then we also got Night Shift, that's his name. We got Night Shift, the physical embodiment of how I feel after work. I feel like I want to beat people up, and I feel like I'm making that face all the time. Like, Bro's got that light skin stare. You know what I'm saying? But here we go. We got Night Shift. He's a fun guy to play as. He's a little bit weaker than I would have expected, but he's cool. What can I say? Now we'll start off with the cores from Swap Force. First of one being Wind Up. Bro got his hand chewed off. I don't know what happened to him because I wasn't there. He was purchased in the $60 lot. He's a fun character to play as. I have not fully upgraded him yet. He's just a cool little dude. What can I say? Next up, we got Zulu. Very interesting Skylander. This is actually Legendary Zulu, which is even weirder because I've never actually played normal Zulu. I don't know what the Legendary version even means. Is that just a name? I don't know. Is this guy stronger than normal Zulu? One of you guys will have to tell me down in the comments because I really don't know. I've never actually owned a Legendary Skylander before, but apparently I have one now, so that's cool. Next up, the very abused Countdown. Bro has seen better days. He's even missing his fuse, so yeah. He's also missing his rocket arms, but what can I say? You can only be Rocket Man for so long before you just can't take it anymore. And I don't know what that face is. He just looks very cursed without his arms and fuse now. He just looks like he's got a severe splitting headache. Anyways, that's Countdown. He's a very fun Skylander, very strong too. Next up, we got Grim Creeper. Grim Creeper is a very fun Skylander as well. He's very OP, very underrated, and yeah, your time is up. Off the stage. Okay. Next up, Slobbertooth. Just basically Bash, but not Bash. He's actually a pretty fun little guy. He's kind of goofy, and I kind of like him for that. But other than that, that's kind of just him. I haven't really played too much with him, but I will in the future. With that being said, yeah, I think that's all of the brand new cores from Swap Force. Now let's move on to some figures that I actually didn't have from some of the previous games. So the first one is Warnado. Warnado is a figure I actually didn't really think I'd ever end up getting because I could never find him. But then I found him in the $60 lot, and I'm like, yep, we got to get it now. We found Warnado. Yay. This is actually Light Core Warnado, which is pretty dang neat. His shell will glow if you put him on the portal. While it's on, I actually had to turn mine off because it was messing with the camera. So, yeah. But Warnado's a fun guy. He's very weak. I will say that. His armor is all right though. Next up, we got Prism Break. Bro also has lost an arm. I don't know how they chewed through the plastic, but they sure did. Prism Break, sadly, is so weak and barely usable. I try so hard to make that guy. I just think, man, I must be playing him wrong. No, I don't know. I've put a lot of time into trying to play him, and he just kind of sucks. I'm not going to lie. Unfortunately, they made one of the coolest looking Skylanders, one of the weakest characters to possibly use in the entire series. Next up, one of my favorites, Terrafin. This being Knockout Terrafin. Bro just has massive Thanos gauntlets. It's a shark with Thanos gauntlets, which is pretty dang cool if you ask me. I don't know. That's kind of it. Waste my $5. Next up, we got Mega Ram Spyro. Basically Spyro, but with big horns. Pretty cool if you ask me. Then we got Stealth Elf in a ninja suit with some interesting weapons. This is Ninja Stealth Elf. She came in the starter pack. She's pretty neat, but honestly, every time I go to play a Stealth Elf, you best bet I'm always going to grab my Series 1 Stealth Elf instead of this one, even though that one's got more upgrades. Next up, we have Thornhorn Camo. This being my brother's favorite Skylander, and I can see why. Bro is an absolute beast in about every single game that you put him in. And Camo just kicks butt no matter where he is, no matter what he's doing. I can see why he likes him. I actually was going to do a rating video for each of my Skylanders, a power rating video, and Camo actually made it to the top 3, so that's pretty impressive. Next up, we got Light Core Flashwing. Now, Flashwing is another one that I'm actually babysitting for one of my buddies, and that being said, Flashwing's pretty neat. She's not great, she's kind of mid, but she's also not bad. She's kind of a fun thing to go off and play as. She's just not really my first choice, I'm not gonna lie. She's still cool though. Next up, we got some items. So, first things first, we have Shipwreck Islands, and then we also have the I think this is the Groove Machine. And then we also have the Titanium Sheep, I think. It's either Titanium or Platinum, I don't remember which. And then we also have, to complete the Grim Creeper Camo Battle Pack, we have the Archean Crossbow, which will light up if you place it on the portal, which is pretty dang cool if you ask me. I always thought it was pretty neat. But now we will move on from Swap Force to Skylanders Trap Team. That being said, I am actually looking to purchase some of the other swappers, namely being like Rattleshake, Freeze Blade, the bottom half of Magna Charge, just because I really think that some of the swappers are pretty dang cool. I also want to get Gorilla Drilla and Stink Bomb, just because I find them very interesting Skylanders. But yeah, with that being said, we're kind of winding down throughout my collection. I don't have too many Skylanders Superchargers characters. I do have some more Trap Team figures, though, and we're going to get right into that once I place up these 4 other Skylanders. If you all can guess which of my Skylanders are the strongest in the comments below, then I will give you a shout out in the next video about Skylanders that I make. I know that's not much to say, considering I only have, like, I think, 600 and some odd, almost said Skylanders, subscribers, but it's something. If you can guess my number 1 to number 3 top Skylanders, with the third one being Camo, there, you got 1 free answer. What are my top 2? Then I will give you a shout out in the next Skylanders video. Alright, now on to Trap Team. That being said, we're going to start out with traps. First trap, Water Trap. I think that's the log holder. Second trap, Life Hammer. Very cool. Third trap, also Life Hammer. Very cool. Fourth trap, Fire Torch. Very cool. Chef Pepper Jackson here. Fifth trap, this thing. I think this is Dark Spider or something like that. Very cool. This has Nightshade. 6 trap. Light Owl has Luminous. Also very cool. He's very OP. That being said, we are now going to move on to the actual figures. The figures are the fun, let's be honest. I had to put some traps away, sorry. That being said, we will start off with the man, the myth, the legend, Snapshot. Snapshot is a very, very cool Skylander. That being said, he was also purchased in the $60 lot, thus he's missing an arm. Because why not? We all wanted a pirate bootleg Snapshot, so we just vibing with it. You know, bro's just a pirate. He can't shoot no arrows no more. He just has to hit people with his bow. What can we say? Bro fought Chaos one too many times and kind of got his butt handed to him. Or rather his arm, I guess. But with that being said, I always love Snapshot. He's a very, very fun Skylander. But I don't think Snapshot's nearly as good unless you got his buddy, Lobstar. Lobstar is so much fun. This is Winterfest Lobstar, so it is an in-game variant. The one and only one I have other than Legendary Zulu. And, yeah, he is completely epic. I remember seeing him in stores all the time. I remember I wanted him so bad. But back in those days, $14 was like $1 million in normal money. Well, let's be honest. That being said, on to the next Trapmaster I actually have, Gusto. This dude is very interesting. He has a different moveset than I actually thought he did. Because I don't do my research, I just buy it and then play it in game. And this dude gave me a couple of surprises, and I was honestly pleasantly surprised. He's a little bit stronger than I thought he would be. On to the next one, we got another hot streak. That being this guy, Wildfire. That's his name. Good night. I cannot remember some names today. I love the shield. The shield is very neat. This guy's in mint condition. Thank goodness. But guess what? You'll never guess it. He was purchased in the $60 lot, and I'm glad he's one of the ones that was actually took well care of. That being said, he's a very cool-looking character, and he does a lot of damage. He's very hefty, and I like that about him. He's very, very cool. On to the next one, we have the one and only Trapmaster, Night Light. He is very cool. I wish that I would have got his Trapmaster counterpart for the dark element, that being Nightmare. But unfortunately, even though that they had the expansion pack, she did not come with the lot. I'm also glad that this guy was not damaged before I could purchase him. That being said, we have one last Trapmaster, that being Headrush. Headrush's horns are completely ripped from her head, so now she's just running in with a pointy helmet, looking like a conquistador Viking mixed hybrid. I don't know what happened there, but something did. Anyway, Headrush is very overhated, I will say that. She's actually pretty good. I just find her yodeling very irritating. Oh, whoopsie, I almost forgot her. Maybe it's because she doesn't have any arms. She's disarmed. We got Gear Shift. Gear Shift is a very, very cool Skylander. Love the design. Too bad that mine doesn't have any arms. I'm going to go ahead and place some of the Trapmasters up top, because otherwise they're going to block our light. And she's very neat. She's a very good Skylander in-game. I just wish that the figure that I owned was not so damaged. Big sad. Now let's move on to the cores. Torch. She's an absolute legend. What can I say? What is going on? All right, we got it to focus. Let's go. Torch is an absolute legend. I actually love playing as Torch. She's very fun in Skylander Strap Team. I do wish she would have been introduced a little sooner, which I know it's kind of a lot to ask, considering that, you know, they actually have to come up with the idea before they can actually publish it. But I think she would have been a very iconic Skylander had she come out in something like, you know, Giants. I think that she has a lot of potential. She's just very overlooked, and I do think that if you've played on her and didn't like her in the past, go back and just sit down for a little bit and play as Torch. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. On to the next one, we have Funny Bone. This guy, I named him Foofer because he's cute and he kind of looks like my pug. Yeah, I thought he was cute, and he is, so good boy. On to the final core that I have from Skylander Strap Team, that being Food Fight. I really like Food Fight. I've always liked Food Fight. He's kind of less my style now that I've gotten a little older. You know, 10 years has went past. But yeah, well, just about 10 years, about 9 years actually. But this dude was a lot of fun back in the day to just kind of sit down and, blast your enemies away with very interesting red liquid. I always thought he kind of looked like he was bursting his enemies' faces every time he would shoot them with a tomato, but that's just my morbid brain. So, yeah. On to the next one. We have a couple of series variants. We have the man, the myth, the legend, the tidal wave Gilgrunt I talked about earlier. That being said, he rides his tidal wave, and he absolutely decimates enemies. Very, very much the superior version of Gilgrunt, I must say. And then we also have the legendary, not the actual legendary, but just the OP Shroom Boom. I think this is literally just the Series 2 Shroom Boom. This is Sure Shot Shroom Boom. He is very cool. Yeah, I like him a lot. Very cool figure. That being said, I also have two minis, that being Small Fry and Spry. I know it rhymes. Very cool, I know. Anyway, these two are very underpowered. They're basically just Spyro but worse and Fryno but worse. But, I guess I can't really hate on them. They're just two cute little dudes, and I don't want to hate on them because I wouldn't want to make them sad. And look into those eyes and tell me that you would want to make this thing cry. I know I wouldn't. It's adorable. That being said, I also have the locations to match the Skylanders Trap Team adventure packs. That being the Sunscraper Spire, which would light up if the portal was on, and the Midnight Museum, which are both very fun levels. I've already beaten both and captured both bosses. So they are very fun levels, and if you don't have them yet, I do advise that you go out and try to see if you can get a good deal on them. I actually got both of those in the $60 lot that I had purchased. I know, kind of crazy. I got a lot of good stuff in that lot, even if some of it was a little beat up. But that's kind of the price you pay sometimes to buy something that's already 10 years old and was mostly handled by children. But yeah, I really do love Skylanders Trap Team. It is probably my favorite game, other than the characters from Spyro's Adventure. Other than that, I love the concept of trapping the villains. I think that is by far one of the best things that came out of the franchise. I'm going to take a sip of my lemonade real quick. That being said, on to the last game that I have a reasonable amount of figures for. That being, or I guess I should say a reasonably large amount of figures for. That being Skylanders Superchargers. Superchargers is a game that before I bought that lot, I only had one figure for, that being Fiesta. And that's just because I thought he looked cool. I was actually never able to play Superchargers growing up because none of my friends had it. Most of my friends had grown out of Skylanders by the time I figured out what the heck it was. And that being said, I was in like 5th grade whenever I figured out what Skylanders was. But I completely fell in love with the series when I was in 5th grade. Everything I thought was, dang, Skylanders epic. Wow. I thought it was the coolest thing. And that being said, let's jump right into the first figure that I purchased for Superchargers, that being Fiesta, the one and only, the one I chose, the one that made me want to play this game so dang bad. And all these years later, he has a crew of his own. Fiesta is a very well-designed Skylander. I've heard people say that he's bad in-game, but you know what? I wouldn't know. You know why? Because I only have Superchargers Racing. So I'm totally fine with, defeating literally everybody in my racing simulator. Don't judge me. Next, we got our boy Spitfire. He has seen the flames of an unspeakable location that we will not say because we are a family-friendly channel here. Well, most of the time family-friendly, unless I decide otherwise in that particular video. Don't strike me down, Susan, please. Oh, wait. I don't think Susan's in charge anymore. I don't remember. Anyway, on to Astro Blast. Bro is literally just an alien with a face that is practically non-existent and it's got glitter inside of it. Pretty dang cool, if you ask me. Very interesting showing for the light element. He's very, very interesting. But even weirder for the fire element, we got freaking Bowser. Look at this dude. This dude counts as an amiibo and a Skylander, which is pretty interestingly weird. This guy has seen the fangs of a dog and lived to tell the tale, even if it was at the cost of his hand. At least he still has a green bar cane to hold him up. Yeah, bro's hammer is no more. Now it's just Kane Bowser. Kane Bowser Army Rise. That being said, we also have this dude, that being High Volt. I think that's his name, High Volt. Or is the High Volt his? Yeah, this is High Volt. Yeah, bro's got a riot shield. Kind of looks like he's got a radioactive sign on his thing, but I think that's literally his whole thing is just high voltage. He's very interesting. I remember thinking when I was younger, man, I really don't like the humanoid designs, but then I thought, dang, Stealth Elf is literally my favorite Skylander, and she's probably as close to a human as you get, other than maybe Sprocket. That being said, we got it's Mistletoe Dive Clops. Eyebrawl's younger brother, is he the younger brother? He's something like that. All I know is that he's Eyebrawl's brother. Yeah, pretty dang cool. Not much to say on him because I haven't actually played the console port of the Superchargers game. I only have the racing version. But yeah, he's pretty cool in-game variant. Very neat. Next, we got Sure Shot, or not Sure Shot, I think it's Super Shot Stealth Elf. And, yeah, they basically just butchered my girl, and that's, that kind of sucks. Next up, we got a couple of vehicles, that being the Clown Cruiser, as the narrator says in Skylanders Superchargers Racing. We also have the Crypt Crusher. Yeah, it's a car with a coffin. Pretty neat. Then we also have the Dive Bomber. Very cool. It has a turny thingy. Very cool, I know. Very cool. Alright, and that is all for Superchargers. But with that being said, I kept one figure from the lot that was from Imaginators, and that is the Golden Queen, just because I thought she looked neat. But with that being said, that basically does it for my entire Skylanders collection here. But yeah, we got the Golden Queen, and I also held on to this thing just in case these were in demand at any time soon. But yeah, that has been my entire Skylanders collection. Yeah, I have, I think, well over 85 figures in the collection, and it has been years, a decade or so in the making, and I'm pretty proud of it. I've really enjoyed these figures, and they've, held a very special place in my childhood for all this time. I don't see myself getting rid of them anytime soon. With that being said, thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you all have a good day, good night, whatever you're doing. Peace out, and bye-bye.